Okay, Nerd Squad, we have a 10-second delay. It is currently 10:21, excuse me. February 11th, 2025, Tuesday. Unit 207 has been really busy between 8 and 10 a.m. this morning. They have intentionally and deliberately criminally shut off, terminated, and tampered with every live stream that has been initiated. I don't even know if this live stream is actually accessible because of Unit 207's criminality. Anyway, there are some updates we need to go over. Some updates they've been actively attempting to prevent all of you from hearing for the last 2 hours and 22 minutes. I am currently having to set up a brand new account on the Lenovo ThinkPad because of Unit 207's hacking and criminality, just in order to access this YouTube channel from a different device and make sure that it's actually recording based on their criminal pattern of conduct for the last 2 hours and 23 minutes. It's very likely that it is not, or that it is but will not be in like less than 15 minutes. So I'm going through that process still, confirming personalization on the Lenovo ThinkPad, Nerd Squad. Still going through all of the terms and conditions, waiting. 10:24 a.m., waiting to see if this live stream is actually recording or not. Saying no thanks to the Google Assistant, pushing get started. Clicking on the browser, searching for Mystic Gwen, YouTube, and we'll see if this is connected. And if it is, we'll hop over to 2 of the preceding live streams from the last 2 hours and 24 minutes, which have all the information you need to be aware of and abreast of today. It is now 10:24 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's still Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. It reflects on the ThinkPad. There's a red circle around my icon on this channel, which would be indicative of a live stream running. However, I've just clicked on it. There we go.
However, I've just clicked.
I can hear it now. All right, so let's go to the preceding live streams, which address everything that you need to be aware of that Unit 207 has been actively tampering with and obstructing, all knowingly without immunity and knowingly obstructing the federal investigation that is a large part of the reason why they are going to prison. So let's click on one of the preceding live streams that is like 7 minutes long. I know that that one tells you everything you need to know about their activity over the last 2 hours and 25 minutes. Let's click on the preceding live stream. Here we go. And then we'll jump to another preceding live stream that's from like 8 this morning that goes over the updates they don't want you to know, so much so that they've been criminally and illegally shutting off these live streams without abatement for 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Responsible for the termination of the preceding live stream. Her specifically, it is now 10:08 a.m. PST. So we're going to click on the preceding live stream, which tells you about the ongoing criminality. The last one was the direct result of a female directly above my head. She is sitting in was sitting in the bedroom that is the most northern bedroom upstairs. So pay attention to the preceding live stream, and then we'll go to the other preceding live stream we're going to need to go to. And let's make sure that we're even connected to the internet right now, since Unit 207's been on a rampage this morning. They're at it again, criminally and illegally shutting off live streams. criminally and illegally preventing live streams from uploading, criminally and illegally terminating live streams, particularly when the fact that what they're referring to as an operation is actually addressed for what it is to everybody else who is a real enforcement officer. And that is a domestic terrorist organization and an aggravated criminal conspiracy with no immunity. Criminal conspiracy with no immunity. That is what it is. That is what it is. That is what you are marked as, because that is what you are. That is what you are marked as, because that is what you are. You are stalkers, child abusers, thieves, fraudsters, enemies to the city, county, state, most notably the United States of America. County, state, most notably the United States of America. You have been classified as a real threat to the judiciary due to the 250 plus separate criminal actions you have perpetrated against myself and my sons. As well as the United States of America, the state of Washington, United States of America, the state of Snohomish County, Snohomish County, in the city of Everett, which is actually looking at charges against people in the city for financing your domestic terrorist organization.
Verified. Verified. Verified.
I.e. the precinct of fraudsters, the North Everett Police Precinct. Now they keep criminally and illegally shutting off live streams. They were making a concerted effort to pretend as though I'm doing something I'm not doing between 8 and 10 a.m. So I'm going to click the
between 8 and 10:28 a.m.
video made of their crimes at that moment.
Keep in mind, you're listening to a preceding live stream, so if you want to see that, you'll have to click on the preceding one.
On that. Are we even still connected here? Allowing playback on that. Are we even still connected here? We are. So again, the time is now 10:01 a.m. This is a consensual recording with Mystic Gwen.
Again, the time is now 10:29 a.m. PST, Unit 207. Again, the time is now 10:29 a.m. PST. Has been busy amassing more tens of millions of dollars to pay me while intimidating me, obstructing justice, tampering with evidence, and giving a big fuck you to the very Federal Bureau of Investigation that has been so courteous not to detain them yet.
When pursuant to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FYI, imbeciles, that's who's prosecuting you. Oh, and they've criminally and illegally shut off this live stream again. Oh no, it appears they re-enabled it after shutting it off temporarily 2 minutes and 21 seconds in. Illegally shut off this live stream again. Oh no, it appears they re-enabled it after shutting it off temporarily 2 minutes and 21 seconds in. All right, let's try clicking on the preceding live.
All right, that is enough of that video. Now you just have an idea of what they've been busy with for the last 2.5 hours. You may be wondering, why haven't you filed another police report on all of this? Or the videos that they have criminally and illegally done that too since your last report of the 8th. Because although I'm not an employee of the FBI gives me orders and everything's on a need-to-know basis. And all that I need to know is they don't want me to do that. Now, my front doors remain closed since January 2nd, the only exception being when they used the 2 disabled boys they've been abusing for a year directly and with their co-conspirators to perpetrate that felony on their behalf after 19 days of plotting, scheming about it daily, and me reporting it and then refusing the reports, all of which plays into their looming child abuse and endangerment convictions, something that multiple FBI agents on this case are really excited to hand out. There's some people they're real excited to prosecute, and there's certain charges they're real excited to convict for. One of them being child endangerment, child abuse, abuse of a disabled minor. And of course, the multiple people facing kidnapping charges, including Miss 80 plus years. So I'm going to go back to the live stream from 8 a.m., which goes over the updates they've been actively attempting to obstruct anyone from hearing that are already in the description of this video. It's now 10:31 a.m. PST.
Are we still connected?
Okay, Nerd Squad, we have a 9-second delay. It is
Are we still connected?
Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. It is 8:02 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at present. We do have some updates to go over. I've listed them in the description of this video, but I need to make sure, because of the ongoing criminal conduct of Unit 207, that this video is actually live and that I can hear myself. So let me click on this video from the Lenovo ThinkPad, which is not logged into the same account as this YouTube live stream, and let's make sure there's audio. YouTube live stream, and let's make sure there's audio. Okay, here we go. It is now 8:03 a.m. PST, still Tuesday. It is still February 11th, 2025. Not too much to update, basically more of the same, but the FBI has asked me to continue with the oral updates at the beginning of the live stream. So remember, everybody, this is a consensual recording with Mystic Quinn pursuant to the instructions of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I am not an employee of the FBI, but I've been authorized to state I am an informant since the last week of June. I am not an employee of the FBI, but I've been authorized to state I am an informant since the last week of June. I am not in the description of this video. Oh, Unit 207, description of this video. Okay, Unit 207 may have already criminally and illegally disconnected this live stream because although I'm watching the video on a different laptop, they have 0 viewers showing. Alternatively, it could be just them stalking me, and this is part of their facade to pretend that they haven't, by finding a loophole with the YouTube interface they like to hack so that they cannot be logged as viewing the videos that they're viewing 24/7.
Verified.
Okay, here we go. Here's the update. The criminal conspiracy centered in Unit 207 persists. Yesterday, February 10th, a brief visit by a male individual just before noon, delivering written materials suggest further coordination and planning. This was followed at 2 PM PST by the North Everett Precinct's predictable and unlawful rejection of the February 8th police report / addendum, a blatant act of obstruction. Unit 207 continues to operate under a delusion, failing to grasp that their actions constitute an aggravated criminal conspiracy verging on domestic terrorism, targeting an FBI informant. Their stated intent to, quote, pretend, end quote, to cease stalking while continuing to do so, alongside plans to send multiple individuals to my residence before February 23rd, believing my, quote, participation, end quote, is required, is further evidence of their criminal intent and detachment from reality. Their continued illegal terminations of these live streams are recorded. Since February 1st, no thumbnail of a selfie of me taken last month has been added to further delineate these terminations. Any termination without my oral statement and a restart of the live stream in 90 seconds or less is a criminal act that I am being the victim of. Since the February 8th filing, 2 additional live streams have been illegally terminated. February 10th, 12 a.m. and February 10th, 8:37 a.m. PST. And
Just going to pause it there and let everybody know this is my 8 a.m. video from today. This is from 2 hours and 35 minutes ago. It's 10:35 a.m. And since then, they've criminally and illegally shut off so many live streams that I've lost count. Okay? Each one of those at, depending on how you look at it, you rejected a police report yesterday. So these ones were 40 million a pop. 40 million a pop for these ones. And then there's the other 2 that I'm talking about right here in the update that I haven't billed you for yet, which are 10 million a pop. And it becomes a contractual agreement the moment I tell you the fee you're going to pay for perpetrating the crimes, and then you perpetrate it, or your co-conspirators do. This is something those looking at federal disbarment already know. They've known the whole time. Okay, back to the recording from 8 a.m. Just remember, it's 10:36 a.m.
Incurring an additional 20 million in penalties. These and all prior penalties remain in effect. They have incurred penalties in the millions for their actions to attempt to obstruct, tamper with evidence, intimidate, harass, stalk, violate my civil rights, violate the ADA, endanger my children, commit fraud, and more. These penalties are legally binding. The FBI is fully aware. Now, that being said, the FBI does want me to play for you a recording that I made on Saturday of the last filing that should be in any and all cases with my legal names, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen, and should have been personally delivered to any commissioners or judges by anyone involved in any sort of litigation with me, all of which is fraudulent and criminal. Keep that in mind. So I'm going to press play and you're going to hear that now. Just keep in mind, it is actually February 11th now, Tuesday. The updates are in the description. It is 8:07 AM PST. Here is the recording. The FBI
It's
would like
now
me to play for you.
10:38
You might want to fast
AM
forward about
PST.
6 minutes
Still
into
Tuesday,
this
the
live
11th
stream
of
from this
February,
point.
2025.
If you don't want to hear all of the judicial notes and notices about incorporation and what this is an addendum to, it's mainly there for lawyers and people who may be coming and not knowing anything at all about the current investigation that's going on and case. So let's press play. Okay, we are going to do a recording of the latest addendum / police report. I'm not recording this one on Twitter since we know that Unit207 has effectively destroyed that as well in their ongoing pattern of obstruction of justice and evidence tampering. Obstruction of justice. Third addendum to formal judicial notice filed February 8, 2025 at 7:12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Original filing, date of original filing, February 4th, 2025, 10:08 a.m. PST. Previous addendums, February 6th, 2025, 7 a.m. PST. February 7th, 2025, 1:45 p.m. PST. To Snohomish County Superior Court, North Everett Precinct, Snohomish County Sheriff's Office, Snohomish County Prosecutors, et al., and forwarded to FBI. From Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. Subject: supplemental information regarding further criminal activities, escalation of threats, evidence tampering, continued child abuse, and incurred penalties. February 8th, 2025. Demand for immediate action and notice of intent to seek maximum penalties under law. This document serves as the third addendum to the formal judicial notice filed on February 4th, 2025 at 10:08 a.m. PST, and previously supplemented. It provides further crucial information regarding subsequent events, the continued escalation of the criminal conspiracy, the blatant and ongoing obstruction of justice, the endangerment of my children, further acts of retaliation, and the accrual of additional financial penalties against those perpetrating these crimes. This addendum also serves as a formal police report documenting these new crimes. 1. Incorporation of prior filings by reference. All facts, invoices, statements, and incorporated documents referenced in the original formal judicial notice of February 4th, 2025, the addendums of February 6th and 7th, 2025, and all police reports filed by Lynette Renee Hansen from June 2024 to the present date, and any future date are hereby incorporated by reference as if fully set forth herein. This specifically includes, but is not limited to, Declaration of Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen, dated December 14th, 2024, revised 8:07 p.m. PST due to unlawful tampering. Addendum to Declaration dated December 19th, 2024. Addendum and Amendment to Declaration dated December 29th, 2024. Tort claim filed August 14th, 2024, case number 10500594, served upon the North Everett Precinct, Snohomish County Prosecutors et al. This document details planned felonies, named conspirators, prior child abuse, and plans for super felonies. The dated signage referenced within and photographed for that last page predated even that filing. It is to be noted per that tort claim, those named within it and their co-conspirators had planned to not only have the actionable kidnappings take place using my multiple times convicted stalker and abuser and my extortionist mother, but they also, and I quote, had, quote, super felonies planned. All police reports filed since June 2024 by me, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. 2. Correction to the previous addendum from February 7th, 2025. Any reference in the February 7th, 2025 addendum to January 4th, 2025 is hereby corrected to read February 4th, 2025 at 10:08 AM PST. 3. Supplemental information, subsequent criminal acts and escalation. A. Status of front door and illegal detention. My front door has remained continuously closed and locked since January 2nd, 2025, per explicit FBI instructions. The sole exception was the forced entry on January 29th, 2025, perpetrated by my disabled sons and illegally kidnapped sons, under the direction of this criminal conspiracy. The FBI has instructed me to keep my door closed until the perpetrators are apprehended or until they attempt another illegal entry. As of today, February 8th, 2025, I have been illegally detained within my own residence for 184 days since August 6th, 2024. B. February 7th, 2025, evidence tampering, obstruction of justice, and continued threats. Livestream interference. While preparing and filing the previous addendum and police report on February 7th, 2025, individuals associated with Unit 207 criminally and illegally terminated 4 separate YouTube live streams. They also retroactively erased over 1 hour of footage from certain recordings. These actions constitute blatant evidence tampering, obstruction of justice, and witness intimidation. It is strongly suspected that these actions were taken to either A, create a false impression of personal service or my voluntary exit from my residence, or B, to conceal evidence of their planning and preparation for their next planned break-in and other felonies. 12:50 p.m., knocking. Individuals associated with Unit 207 engaged in aggravated stalking, harassment, and criminal trespass. C. February 8th, 2025, 5:30 a.m. PST, confirmation of imminent break-in. As of approximately 5:30 a.m. PST on February 8th, 2025, a male in Unit 207 confirmed plans for an imminent break-in involving numerous officers from the North Everett Precinct. This is consistent with the ongoing threats and plans that have been documented for over a year and specifically reported to the North Everett Precinct, Snohomish County Prosecutors, DCYF, and others. The conspirators in Unit 207 have stated that this needs to occur prior to February 23rd because the attorneys involved, at least 2 of whom are facing federal disbarment, are aware that this conspiracy will result in additional and more serious charges being filed. D. Prior knowledge and warnings. It is crucial to emphasize that the North Everett Precinct, the Snohomish County Prosecutor's Office, DCYF, and named individuals, including Richard Garcia and Erica Owens, have been repeatedly warned about their illegal activities and the consequences thereof. These warnings include 11 months of cease and desist letters directly sent to the involved parties and their revolving cast of 3rd, 4th, and 5th parties, beginning in September 2023. 11 months prior to their illegal premeditated felonies since August 2024. August 7th and August 13th, 2024, signage. Dated signs photographed and included in the August 14th, 2024 tort claim were placed on my property explicitly addressed to the North Everett Precinct. D. Owens, Richard Garcia, DCYF and Unit 207, prohibiting trespassing, knocking without a warrant, stalking, and other criminal activities. These signs were in addition to signs that had been in place for over a year prior, and that the FBI had me add them to the last page of the August 14th, 2024 tort claim. August 14th, 2024 tort claim. This document was made after 11 months of cease and desist letters failed to do anything, and the kidnappings, illegal detainment, etc. were planned for the weeks after. This document detailed the planned felonies, named the conspirators, and outlined the financial penalties for their actions, including their defenses, i.e. obstruction / conspiracy / etc. Numerous police reports, repeatedly filed police reports documenting the ongoing threats and criminal activities have been consistently rejected by the North Everett Precinct, including before their actionable kidnappings reported for weeks and months prior, published about in December 2023 on my personal Twitter account, x.com/realmysticwed. Direct communication. All conspirators except Erica and John Owens were explicitly informed beginning August 6, 2024, that I was not authorized to communicate with them, read anything from them, or cooperate with them in any way. The Owens were informed shortly after their involvement in the second actionable kidnapping. Per the FBI's instructions, cease and desist letters end August 14th, tort claim filed in case number 10-500-5934. Despite these warnings, the conspirators have sent over 48 individuals to my door and engaged in constant exterior stalking just since the first week of August. They did the same thing for the 11 months prior when they were getting cease and desist letters. Involvement of Everett Public School District. The potential involvement of the Everett Public School District, an institution with which I had a long and positive relationship as a art docent, special ed para-volunteer, enhanced teaching volunteer, and donor, is noted with grave concern. This highlights the sprawling nature of the conspiracy and its willingness to corrupt and exploit various institutions. I volunteered for an average of 40 hours a week from 2012/2013 to the start of 2020 and donated tens of thousands to the school district. Podcast interference. Unit 207 and or their co-conspirators have blocked my podcast from being uploaded to Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Audible. They have also had x.com block all access via my dedicated podcast Twitter, x.com/mysticwindpod. I will create a YouTube live stream part 2 of my prior, titled Mystic Gwen versus the North Everett Precinct of Fraudsters, the Stalker, the Extortionist, et al. By 8 PM PST today. FBI timeline and intent. The FBI informed me in December 2024 of their plans to incarcerate officers involved in the conspiracy in March 2025. Subject to change based on the conspirators' actions. Unit 207's statements indicate they believe they have no alternative but to proceed with their planned illegal entry, arrest, committal, or kidnapping before February 23rd. As the involved attorneys are aware of the increased severity of charges they will face after that date. 4. Financial penalties updated. The following financial penalties previously invoiced and contractually agreed upon are reiterated and updated. $100,000 per day for each day of my ongoing illegal detention, now totaling over 180 days. $10 million for any attempted illegal entry into my residence, increased to $25 million if I am asleep at the time. This penalty applies to the recent breaking and entering on January 29th, 2025. $10 million for the use of my sons and/or for coercing them to commit any illegal acts, including the January 29th breaking and entering. Doubling of all penalties of fraudulent court orders are used in conjunction with any illegal act. Quadrupling of these fees for any of the above criminal acts if they are perpetrated within 7 days of a rejected police report regarding said acts. $10 million for the rejection of legitimate police reports constituting obstruction of justice. This applies to all reports rejected to date. $10 million for each instance of illegally terminating a YouTube live stream. This applies to all instances to date. $10 million for each and every instance of stalking. $10 million for each and every instance of harassment. $10 million for each and every instance of ADA violations, $10 million for each and every instance of civil rights violations, $10 million for the incident of stalking, harassment, ADA violations, criminal trespass, and witness intimidation on February 7th, 2025 at 12:50 p.m. Additional penalties for February 7th events, subject to quadrupling. The $40,000 for the knocking, or the $40 million for the knocking, and $40 million for the obstruction, based on the 2 rejected reports. Additional penalties for live stream termination, 4 terminations times 10 million equals 40 million. The actions documented in this addendum and those rejected in prior reports significantly increase the financial liability of the conspirators. 5. Conclusion. This addendum provides further irrefutable evidence of the aggravated and ongoing criminal conspiracy targeting me, a designated FBI informant. The individuals involved, including officers of the North Everett Precinct, members of the Snohomish County Prosecutor's Office, occupants of Unit207, and their expanding network of co-conspirators, demonstrates a complete and utter disregard for the law, for my rights, and for the well-being of my children. Their attempts to obstruct justice, tamper with evidence, and intimidate a federal witness are not only failing, but are actively strengthening the case against them. The FBI maintains that anyone and or everyone sticking to the perjurious and fraudulent proclamation that any of their actions were, quote, reactive and not the premeditated, illegal, and consistently reported felonies that they were and are, will be the recipients of the longest prison sentences. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is fully aware of these developments. This document serves as formal legal notice of these crimes and a demand for immediate action to protect my safety and ensure accountability. Sincerely, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. Date February 8th, 2025. Time 7:12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Okay, it is actually 8:23 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is now Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. There are updates in this video. They're addressed in the beginning of the video, and they're also listed in the description. Now I got to talk to the FBI real quick. Nerd Squad, it's reflecting as 214 videos set for public consumption on the YouTube interface at present. Clicking on this live stream, make sure there's audio. I'm going to play the beginning of this live stream. So if you're here right now, you're going to hear a regurgitation of what I said at the start of this live stream.
February 11th, 2025. It is 8:02 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at present. We do have some updates to go over. I've listed them in the description of this video, but I need to make sure, because of the ongoing criminal conduct of Unit207, that this video is actually live and that I can hear myself. So let me click on this video from the Lenovo ThinkPad, which is not logged into the same account as this YouTube live stream, and let's make sure there's audio. YouTube live stream, and let's make sure there's audio. Okay, here we go. It is now 8:03 a.m. PST. It's still Tuesday. It is still February 11th, 2025. Not too much to update, basically more of the same, but the FBI has asked me to continue with the oral updates at the beginning of the live stream. So remember, everybody, this is a consensual recording with Mystic Quinn pursuant to the instructions of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I am not an employee of the FBI, but I've been authorized to state I am an informant since the last week of June 2024. Here are the updates also available in the description of this video. Oh, Unit207, description of this video. Okay, Unit207 may have already criminally and illegally disconnected this live stream because although I'm watching the video on a different laptop, they have 0 viewers showing. Alternatively, it could be just them stalking me, and this is part of their facade to pretend that they haven't, by finding a loophole with the YouTube interface they like to hack so that they cannot be logged as viewing the videos that they're viewing 24/7. Okay, here we go. Here's the update. The criminal conspiracy centered in Unit 207 persists. Yesterday, February 10th, a brief visit by a male individual just before noon, delivering written materials suggest further coordination and planning. This was followed at 2 PM PST by the North Everett Precinct's predictable and unlawful rejection of the February 8th police report / addendum, a blatant act of obstruction. Unit 207 continues to operate under a delusion, failing to grasp that their actions constitute an aggravated criminal conspiracy verging on domestic terrorism.
Did you always want to be in this line of work?
Always wanted to be famous. This could be the defining role of your career.
It's time to pay for your sins.
Since you're new to H&R Block, we'll go through your tax returns from the past 3 years for any money your last guy might have missed.
I could get money back from the last 3 years?
This one time, I scored a client.
Now that's...
Nerd Squad, they're not allowing me to add the Authenticator app in any way, shape, or form for the other email address that they've been hacking and using. Mystic Gwen Lynette Renee Hansen at gmail.com. I have disabled skip password when off, when possible to off. I'm selecting Authenticator again, but I've tried this multiple times and I'm doing everything appropriately and they're still preventing me from being able to set up the Authenticator app, Nerd Squad. I've just gotten a different code for that, so perchance this one will work. It is currently 10:59 AM PST. They are still hacked into this account, preventing things such as showing who is viewing it. For instance, I have this video open on a separate laptop logged into a different account. The YouTube interface should be reflecting there's one viewer. It's not. That's because Unit 207 is continuing to pretend to be all of my devices, something they've done for over a year, something they've utilized to destroy property like brand new laptops, and to cyber stalk me in a bid to use their curated plausible deniability defense, which basically was to blame all of their co-conspirators for what they themselves are guilty of. Spoiler alert, you're going to be convicted for all of it. Spoiler alert, you're going to be convicted for all of it. Before I resume attempting with the Authenticator app, Nerd Squad, I am throwing back on Bill Burr's super boring podcast. I don't know if it's just this week or what, but the first 10 minutes of this were boring. All right, now back to the Authenticator app, Nerd Squad, at 11 a.m. If Unit 207 is going to let this play.
So anyway, that movie is incredible. And then I also saw, I went out yesterday and I saw The Brutalist.
The reason for the
Jesus
Authenticator
Christ. They
app
should have
code
called
is
that movie
apparently
The
the man and
fucking
woman
Brutalist.
upstairs think
It
they
is
found a way to
fucking
hack it so
brutal.
they can control this
Not
account
in a bad
too.
way.
They want this account because it's linked to
what the
mysticgwen.com because
characters
they
go
kept
through is
hacking every
fucking
account that was hacked
brutal.
attached to
Long
mysticgwen.com.
ass movie too.
Federal felons, bump bump.
They had an intermission,
You're the
which I can't remember
ones
last time I went to a
going to
movie. They had a
prison.
15-minute fucking intermission.
That won't be
And I went
fun.
with a friend of mine, and we're looking at each other like, dude,
Don't
what the
forget,
hell
you're
long
looking
is
at
this
a
fucking movie? 'Cause
sizable lawsuit
we were going to go to the movie and then get
from
something
Sprint
down
/
at Chinatown over
T-Mobile
there.
as well once you're
And,
all arraigned.
The acting in it is incredible. So I guess it's nominated. Sorry, I'm not on time here. It was nominated to for a whole bunch of awards and everything, and I can see why the performances in there were fucking incredible. So anyway,
finally,
that thing,
it finally worked, Nerd Squad. Authenticator app has been set
it
up
was
for
a
that
6
account.
o'clock movie. We got out at like 10 o'clock. And we were laughing, going like, if that was on TV, I don't know if I would have made it. Like I would have, with my ADD,
Not
I
allowing
would
me
have
to
made it
turn
through.
on
So I was so
two-step
glad when I saw it in the
verification
movie
with the
theater.
Authenticator app, as it should be.
But it doesn't
allowing
drag.
you to
It like somehow went by really fast. But I didn't have the distractions or anything like that. And also, if you watch it at home, it's 3 hours and 35 minutes, but that's with the credits. Credits take 5 minutes, so it's 3.5 hours. But anyway, so we're walking out of the movie theater.
Okay. As of 3 minutes ago,
Then we're
Authenticator
walking
app
over to like
added two-step
Chinatown.
verification
And at this point,
added
it's
for that
late
account.
and it's
Nerd
Sunday
Squad.
night, and I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to find a place that's open or
11:02
whatever.
a.m.
And we're talking about the movie and shit. And I walked by. It was so funny. And I looked, and the Super Bowl
Female
was still
upstairs
going.
thinks she's still hacked in. Trying to be encouraging to her
That's what
fellow
fucking-
domestic terrorists and co-conspirators, her
It's so
fellow
fucking
child
awful.
abusers, kidnappers, stalkers,
Why the
hostage
Super
holders,
Bowl
and
has to be
thieves.
that goddamn fucking long. I went to the game last year, and I swear to God, when they go to commercial and you're sitting in the stadium, how fucking long it is, it just kills all the fucking drama of it. It's the only sport that does that. It's the only fucking sport where it gets to the most important game of that sport, and then the game is so in the fucking background. Who's performing at halftime? How much do you think that commercial
Signed out
cost?
of the Gmail
We
account at
normally run
11:03
3-4
Nerd Squad.
commercials between, on commercial breaks. Now we're going to run 8. So, anyway, my prediction on the game was that if they let them play, the Eagles could beat them, and Saquon was going to run wild and eat up the clock, and he would be the MVP. But if the refs were doing their usual bullshit, and he would be the MVP. The Eagles didn't have a fucking prayer. So I walk down the street and I see it's like 40-6 Eagles. And I was like, all right, I guess they fucking let them play. All of these people calling them out for their fucking bullshit. They didn't get the preferential treatment. Is that what happened? I have no idea. I didn't watch the game, but Verging told me that Saquon, didn't have a dominating game or whatever, and Jalen Hurts got the MVP. So congratulations to the Eagles. And congratulations to you guys, because I swear to God, if the fucking Kansas City Chiefs won, congratulations to the... I don't know if I was going to be able to hold my fucking tongue. But they did a good job, though. They got, Taylor Swift all the way to the
Nerd
Super Bowl.
Squad, 218 videos set for public
the
viewing,
casual
according
fan
to
was there, but
Interface
not
as
for
of
long. But
11:05
long
a.m.
enough, maybe, that they made their money. I don't know. The only thing I did see something funny. Was a bunch of Eagle fans singing something like, nobody likes us, we don't
They
care.
criminally and illegally tampered with and ended 8
I know,
live
singing
streams over the
Nobody
last
likes
3
them,
hours.
we don't care. And it was so fucking hilarious to me. Where it's like, oh, these poor bastards, they don't realize that it's worse than that. It's worse than nobody likes you. We don't care. Nobody's talking about you. Well, it's not standing around they don't realize that it's worse than that. I'll tell you, what city really
It's worse than nobody likes you. Nobody.
The saddest thing about Philadelphia, and when I started to, when I first started to love that city.
Removed the VoIP number from that account, too. I don't know if I orally said that, Nerd Squad.
Aside from the fact was I always liked their teams. Despite that stupid thing that happened when I was
Unit
down there, I was just
sounds
going
a
after
little
the teams because they were
surprised.
booing me,
That
right?
was per the Nerd
But I
Squad,
always
Unit
liked
207.
the Celtics
They don't
thing
like
is
you
like
guys
really,
having access to things you've never been legally
the
allowed to
Celtics
have
fucking,
access
Sixers,
to.
right? I didn't like
Just
the
like they don't
Sixers
like
during
your
that time,
child
but now I look
abuse, your
back, I fucking
kidnapping,
love
your
those guys.
hostage holding, your theft, your
and I
illegal
still think
detainment of me, your attempts to destroy
that
my life.
76ers
Just like they
way
plan
back in the
on
day,
making
that,
you all pay for.
the pregame,
Whistleblowers
their warm-ups,
excluded.
whatever that they had when Dr. J was playing on them in the early 80s is still arguably one of the best fucking logos and whatever you want to call it, fucking uniforms ever. And always liked the Phillies. And I loved the Flyers when I was growing up because I loved watching the fights. And that was their whole fucking identity. I did hate the Eagles.
I don't know why, but this episode of Bill Burr is literally like the most boring episode of Bill Burr for the first 20 minutes. And it has such an interesting title, too. It says Super Bowl and drones. Like, it sounds like it's going to be an action-packed episode. It's not. The latest episode of Louis Theroux was by far more interesting than that Bill Burr episode this week. Just this week. Everybody has an off week. Maybe he's having an off week. Maybe next week's episode will be much more attention-grabbing in the first 20 minutes. And this episode could also get really good, like 40 minutes from now. But I'm not going to know because I'm switching to a different podcast. I'm going to JRE. He has some chick on there from the episode from yesterday, Monday, that I've never heard of before. Or if I've heard of her, I don't recognize her name. Oh, he has a new one already for today. John Reeves, Alaskan gold miner, or Bridget Paisley, a writer and stand-up comedian. Let's try Bridget, not Paisley. Bridget, I don't know how you pronounce it. Phetasy. Etasy, I have no idea.
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan
I don't know how you
Experience.
pronounce it.
During my day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night.
All day.
Dark horse.
This is the thing is no one's happy with just being like a little successful. You get a little successful and then they want to get more.
Is that everyone though?
I don't know. Is it you, Bridget?
I'm a little successful.
That's it. Like,
And I'm
a
happy.
little
Yeah.
successful.
It's like,
You get a little successful and they want to
you
get
got
more.
to find
Is that every-
why you're doing it. You don't want to just be on a hamster wheel.
Well, I think it's easy to get lost in chasing more. You know, like I'm an addict. So it's I try to stay away from analytics and all that stuff because I can become hyper focused and obsessed with them.
Well, right.
And one of the reasons that after I did, who was it? I was opening for Landau, and we would go out and just talk to the people after the show. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, I love Walk and Socom. I love Dumpster Fire." And it was like such a good reminder that you get like chasing numbers, and it was like, "Oh no, these are not just numbers; they're people." Unless you're like buying bots, but I think it can be easy to just get on that hamster wheel and start being like, we need more downloads, we need more, and more and more, and then you forget. And I never want to take the audience we have for granted.
Yeah.
You know, like they're amazing. They've been with some of these people have been with me for forever.
That's kind of the key to it all, right? Is to always have, I mean, it sounds so corny because it's such like a new wellness way of looking at things. Have gratitude. There's some gratitude. But gratitude is like very important. It's really important to be thankful for what you have.
Yeah, and it was one of the key things in getting sober. I think when I've dealt with like anxiety, depression, other things in my life, gratitude is a powerful mechanism for shifting your perspective, because you can get into that feeling of like not being enough, not having enough, it never being enough.
Well,
and
Brian Callen was telling me about his buddy who's a billionaire.
because you
His
can
buddy's worth, like, $3
get
billion,
into that feeling
and
of like
feels he's
not being
poor
enough, not having
because
enough,
he's friends
not
with people with hundreds
it
of
never
millions.
being enough.
Yeah, Brian Callen was telling me
No, I
about
mean,
his buddy who's a
when I was
billionaire.
dating a very wealthy guy who is like probably
Bit of a
half
delay
of
there,
a
it's hot.
billionaire,
They got a bit of a delay
like
going on.
500 millionaire, and we were in San Tropez, and he
Most likely for
felt
their final
poor.
breaking and entering attempt, which if you understand is supposed to coincide.
I
with them
remember
criminally illegally
I
shutting
remember
off
it
the
so
live stream
vividly.
like
I
they
was in
did
the
to
shower,
8
and
of the
he loved me
preceding
because
live
I was like
streams
this like poor
over the last 3
backpacker that
hours
was
and
like
11 minutes.
and
Oh, he
entertaining.
did.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
clap
like
for the
this
federal
entertaining.
government. Of the precinct of
He wanted me to be
stalkers.
like his pet monkey, like came around and just like made him laugh. And I gave him shit, and I think guys like that are just, he gets surrounded by yes men too, a certain.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And you don't have people like taking the piss out of you. And so I would make fun of him for his boring stories about his mattresses that people would sit there. I'm like, why are you guys listening to this guy talk about a mattress for an hour? And I was in the shower and he was talking about how he and his friends got together and he's like, we sat around and we were talking and there's a certain level at which you can be happy no matter what. And I thought I had been rubbing off on him. Like, oh, my yogi spirituality is rubbing off on him.
What did he get to like 10 billion?
No, he goes, and it's $250 million. I was like, what? I was crying. Where did that leave the rest of us schmucks, by the way? Like
That's
I'm
so
sitting there in
funny.
this Carrera Marble freaking shower.
Imagine the thought that the only way you could ever be happy is with $250 million.
That's the
By the way,
minimum.
I know some people worth $250 million are miserable as fuck.
Yeah, no,
It's not going to do it.
It's not.
It's not going to do it at all.
I was like, I'm sorry, where does that leave people like me?
No. I think you need a few things. You need your health above and all.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
matter how
you have
rich
to
you
have your
are.
health. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is you have to have friends. If you're just like the man and everybody's kissing your ass and you're the head of this giant business and you live in a bubble and you're not happy. That's not happy. Happy is you have to have colleagues. You have to have companions, comrades. You have people that you're like them. You get to hang together, go to dinner and laugh and hug each other.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Enjoy your life.
I was thinking about even the other night in the green room, like it's like everyone takes the piss out of each other.
Yes.
It doesn't fucking matter what level you're at, who you are, everybody's talking shit. It keeps everybody, it doesn't matter. Like you can walk out that door and be very famous, but in that room, it's just comedians talking shit.
Yeah,
and
it's a beautiful environment to keep your head straight.
it's necessary, I think, too. And it is like, even though you might think you want yes men all around you, I think what I've learned even just from being around rich guys who I talk a lot of shit to is they don't really want that.
No, it's uncomfortable. You don't want yes men around you. You want people that are making fun of you.
And also, how are you gonna, like, you need people to push back.
Yeah. I think it also depends on what is your personality. Some people are like very deeply, deeply insecure and they really almost desire yes men just to maintain stability. Some people are very weird, and you don't know it because their public face is that they're normal. Their public face when they're getting interviewed, they know how to like turn it on for 5 minutes, but then when you're around them all day, they're fucking crazy people. Which is why they're successful in the first place, which is really weird. It's like what got you the dance is literally mental illness.
I was talking to, I think Malice came on my podcast recently.
He's the best. He's the best.
One of my best friends, truly.
Is he doing stand-up now?
I hope he does.
I've heard he's doing stand-up. I heard he's going to do stand-up or he's planning on doing stand-up.
He wants to, but here's the thing. He probably has to do it at Mothership. Like, he can't be at an open mic where somebody's going to record.
Oh, yeah. Well, he could totally do Mothership.
Okay, so we're going to make that happen.
Sunday and Monday
yeah,
nights.
that's what I said. I was like,
week.
talk to Joe.
Oh, I'd let him go up and do a guest spot on one of my shows. Fuck it.
Yeah.
He's funny, man. He's fucking funny. When he said that, that viral clip when if you're an ableist.
Yes.
And I'm like, an ableist. He's like, she's a retard.
Yeah. He's so quick.
Oh, his timing is excellent. He's such a smart guy.
Yeah.
He's so fucking, except when it comes to like the whole anarchy thing. We don't need cops. I'm like, listen, bitch, you need a cop just to keep me from you. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You don't need cops. What are you talking about? Shut the fuck up. You need cops.
But he was saying.
You need cops.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that nonsense.
No, I don't
want to hear that no law and order nonsense. Shut the fuck up.
I just am like, where are you in this hierarchy?
Yeah, you're dead. You're dead. I'm going to steal your food on day one. Shut the fuck up.
First round of the purge, you're gone.
What the fuck is wrong with you? You need cops.
I feel like I'm at least second round of the purge, but.
Are you armed?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's important.
So it's at least second.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Do you know how to use it?
Yeah.
Do you train?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I don't want to be one of those like,
yeah. No.
That's right.
I taught my kids how to shoot when they're very young.
Yeah, I think you
You got to teach them firearm safety. You know how never have your finger on the trigger unless you're trying to shoot something.
Yeah.
Ever. You know, ever. Don't hold the gun with your finger on the trigger. Always point it away, even if it's not loaded. Point it away from people. Point it at the ground. Point it away. If people are around, point it in a direction where there's no human beings.
Yeah.
You know, understand.
Always check and see.
Yeah, always check and see there's not a bullet in the chamber.
Yeah.
This is how you rack it. This is how you do it.
Yeah.
It's like, you should know how to use them. Just because if, God forbid, something ever happens, it's horrible. Your house gets broken into, and you know.
Yeah.
You have the ability to preserve your life.
My fear was always that I'd be in a situation like in the movies where somebody's wrestling with someone and then they kick the gun over and I'm the girl standing there and I'm like,
Right, how's this fucking, what are these buttons and switches and the magazine pops out like fuck. And you pull the trigger but it's not around the trigger, like how does this fucking thing go?
And then there is, and I accidentally shoot the hero.
Oh, that happens. That happens. People panic. You know, if you're not used to like high pressure situations and you expect to be able to shoot somebody, Jesus Christ.
Oh, so Malice. Anyway, the reason I brought him up, he was talking about how he didn't realize how many people in podcasting were mentally ill.
Well, in everything.
But yeah, in
podcasting
everything.
For sure, because, well, there's a lot of people that aren't performers that are in podcasting. I think they're even more mentally ill. Because those are the people that are like deep in the fucking social media comments all day and seeing people shit on them and they're out of their fucking minds.
At 11:17 a.m., Unit 207 is fuming. Apparently setting up the
authenticator and you see them
app,
over the years get
removing the
progressively
phone number and
more and
whatnot
more
to
insane
Mystic
and
Gwendolyn
more
at
and more
Renee Hansen
aggressive
at
to each other.
gmail.com has impeded their ability to cyber attack me, albeit
Also,
temporarily.
who has time for that?
Three of them are
I don't
upstairs plotting and
understand.
scheming
Not
some
just
sort of
exhausting,
workaround to
but
that because
detrimental.
they
It's a
require
tremendous
more
waste of
cyber attacks,
resources.
most
It's
likely
really
for
bad
that
for you
final breaking
mentally.
and entering that
Like
has
your
always
own
consistently
mindset,
been
it's
planned to
bad
occur
if you're in
while there
conflict
was
with
no
someone all
live
the
stream
time.
running,
Especially if you could
particularly
avoid it.
because of their
You
desperation
don't
over
admire
the
yourself
next 12
doing that.
days
There's
from
no
now
way
and
you're
what
like,
goes on
hey, I'm on the
their
right track.
indictment.
There's no fucking way. There's no way. You're retarded.
They might be feeling like they're on the right track. I mean,
If they
I
don't
think
perpetrate that breaking and entering.
Elon's monetized it now, though. So these guys who are in the comments fighting,
An
they're
additional
making,
count.
$2-3 grand a month doing it.
That's a good point. That's a different thing, right? How much are people like? What's the highest earner on X? Like, how much can you make?
So
Can you make a living?
random. People are making livings. I think you have to be on it constantly.
Right.
And some people make a lot of money. When I see them post what they're making, I'm like, holy crap! How
much?
I don't know. And it seems to be people who kind of Elon will like.
Boost.
Yeah, he'll like turn the eye of Sauron upon them, and suddenly like they are. But it's very mercurial, you know. It seems like it can change on a dime, and
Well, a lot of people post things that are just not true, and Elon reposts them.
all the time. He uses social media like we do. I think I do more fact checking than he does.
Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't have the time. First of all, give the guy a break. He's running like government programs along with SpaceX, along with Tesla.
I will cut him some slack, but also with great power comes great responsibility. You have more followers than anyone on that entire site, and you're gonna boost like Russian propaganda.
Yeah, that was one, right? That fake talk show.
Yeah,
there was a fake talk show that he boosted. The other thing that we should probably tell people is that Politico thing is not true.
No, I know.
The $8 million thing. The $8 million is $8 million from all the government organizations from 2016 to 2024. So it's an 8-year period. And then there's some kind of wacky premium subscription that you can get from Politico.
Yeah.
That allows you like instantaneous access to the news. You're not just reading the articles. You're like getting the news feeds. I don't know.
It's a lot of places where look, I'm of two minds of this. I think we need to be accurate because we do live in a time where it's almost like people don't care about truth at all.
Right.
They're like, oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not even, it's indifference to it, which is not great. But I do think credibility, like you should care about your own credibility at some point, but people get rewarded for being shameless. So you can just keep going. The Politico thing is weird because, yes, a lot of the stuff that's going out right now on all of these like deep dives that people are doing, they're viral. They're many of them are fake, but also the why is any taxpayer dollar? It should be $0, right?
The
That's
person
going
to
to
find.
this stuff.
The person to search is Mike Benz. Go to the Mike Benz cyber. Is it Mike Benz cyber? I think that's it, right? His X page. Mike Benz.
He's been on this forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Well, former State Department guy, and he uncovered all this bullshit while he was there. And he is insanely knowledgeable, insanely articulate, and so good at expressing exactly how these things fund things and what it is. And it's what it is an enormous slush fund.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And unaccountability and money just coming and going and flowing. And it's
circular.
All circular, donating to the Democrats. The United States government funds them. They donate to the Democratic Party. It's the whole thing is wild.
And people can sense this. This is why when they're saying, "Oh, it's like," you can sense that there's been a misappropriation of our money, of taxpayer dollars. You know there's fraud and Medicare and Medicaid. The American people have sensed this and they feel like there's corruption, but I think they've just hopelessly kind of surrendered because there's corruption, but I think middle class mom who works, who has a kid, who who has time to fight this?
Right.
You know, you don't have time to
pay attention.
No.
How do you have time to fight it?
No. And people are just trying to survive and get through the day. And then you have this sense, so I can see the excitement of people, Elon, what he's doing. And it shouldn't be controversial to want to audit our budget.
No.
Americans have wanted this forever.
It's not just the money being spent. It's what it's being spent for and what's going on, which is an enormous propaganda machine.
Yeah.
A big part of the whole left-wing narrative that has overlaid our country over the last, 8 years, 10 years, is all propaganda funded by our own government.
I'm going to try today's episode of JRE, John Reeves. I'm going to try today's episode of JRE, John Reeves. I'm going to try today's Unit 207's not letting it play. Unit 207. You're going to prison. Unit 207 has been thinking they could blame all of their thousands of cyber stalking and cybercrime incidences on myself because they think they've been so smooth that they've been pretending to be all of my devices and accounts while breaking and destroying my private property and digitally home invading us. Yada, yada, yada. Well, apparently, just simply adding the Authenticator app to that previous Gmail account that I orally discussed earlier has fucked up their very unsmoothness
experience.
Stream by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
And for those of you that don't know, the FBI has said explicitly about Unit 207 since before they made actionable the first of many kidnapping charges they're all going to be convicted for, the following, quote, "They are not nearly as smooth as they like to imagine." The FBI has also stated the following about the North Everett Precinct, quote, "Most officers take an oath to serve and protect. The North Everett Precinct takes an oath to abuse and deflect. That constitutes domestic terrorism," end quote. And another quote, quote, "There will be an exodus at the North Everett Precinct," end quote. Then remember, the FBI has also stated explicitly that every FBI agent in this state, and paper pusher, and even janitorial maintenance personnel refers to the North Everett Precinct as only the precinct of fraudsters. There is only one in this state. Last month, the FBI said that they were renaming them the Precinct of Stalkers. It's 11:26 a.m. I suggest you federal felons get on your knees and pray, or better yet, go to Seattle and surrender to the FBI field office before you're all detained and I am paid. To the FBI field office before you're all detained and I am paid. Okay, John Reeves, J.R. Reed, today's episode.
Good to see you, my friend.
Good to be seen. Thank you. Good
We
to
were
see you.
supposed to be doing the end of the year, but unfortunately, you got caught with
It's
the cookies.
11:26 a.m.
I did, and
What'd you get?
I can officially announce that the end of 2024 is right now.
Well,
Been waiting for that.
this calendar's all bullshit anyway. It's supposed to be on that old one. It's 13 months.
There you go.
So what happened? What'd you catch?
Well, I thought I had bronchitis. Everybody in the house had it. And we go to CrossFit, and they all had it. I go to CrossFit Jackson. My trainer's Megan Russell there, and she's going, you might want to take it easy a little bit. Of course, I'm smoking cigarettes, and I got bronchitis. And I go to a clinic. They give me some drugs. Yeah, you got bronchitis. Go home. A couple days later, I'm sleeping in my chair, and my wife has one of those little oxygen monitor things you put on your finger. She wakes me up and goes, all right, let's go. What do you mean, let's go? Oxygen levels. You're going to the hospital. What? I'm just sitting here taking a nap. No, you're going to the hospital. So I said, okay. So we get this late at night. We go to St. Vincent's Clinic. Go in. It's late. And sitting there waiting for the doctor. Arian F. Shari. Great guy, it turns out. He comes in and looking at me. He's young enough to be one of my kids. He goes, stethoscope, listening to my lungs. He goes, do you smoke? I said, yeah. He says, you need to quit. I said, I just did. He goes, what? I said, I just did. I'm done. Now what do we do? He goes, well, next you're going to the hospital. This is just a clinic. I said, what do you mean I'm going to the hospital? He said, you haven't got bronchitis. You got pneumonia. And I think you got double pneumonia. So you're going right now.
What's double pneumonia?
Both lungs.
Oh,
The bad kind.
the bad kind.
He says, but the good news is you don't have bronchitis. I said, okay.
I guess that's good.
And that was about the time I was supposed to be in the studio with you. Just a couple of days before that. And I'm going, wow, this kind of threw up my plans. As you know, best made plans and all that.
Listen, the plans are all bullshit. We made those up.
Yeah.
We'll do it at the end of the year. It doesn't have to be that.
All right. Well, thanks for the invite. I look forward to it this year.
I'm just happy that you're okay.
I am okay. And
the date didn't matter. Things happen. I'm just glad you recovered. I'm glad you quit smoking too.
Yeah, he says you need to quit smoking. I did. And went to the hospital. Was in there for almost 5 days, and I haven't been in a hospital in a while. But they have it. St. Vincent's did a great job. The nurses have their little machines they wheel around, and they come in your room it seemed like quite often to check your vitals, to do this, to do intravenous, to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in there and couldn't sleep. So I'm one of those guys that if you walk by the door and you see an old guy sitting on a bed looking out the door, that's me. So I maybe got an hour, 2 hours of sleep at night.
Did you have a hard time kicking the cigarettes? Because you've been smoking like your whole life, right?
I did. I've smoked for over 50 years. And I know it's bad for me. And I've never been an anti-smoking crusader. But if anything good comes of my appearance with you today, was that this Dr. F. Shari, total stranger, guy I never met before in my life, happened to tell me, total stranger, exact guy you need to quit. And I've been thinking I need to quit for a long time. My loved ones told me that, my wife, my kids. And I never, okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
It's a weird thing because it kills you slowly. And along the way, it gives you just a little bit of happiness. A little bit of happiness while it kills you slowly. And it's not just a problem of killing you slowly, it's how it's going to kill you. The way it's going to kill you, it's going to suffocate you.
Yep.
I have a friend, my friend Mike, who owns the Comedy and Magic Club in Hermosa Beach. and he was trying to convince a friend of mine to quit smoking because his wife is a nurse. I believe so. I believe not out of school, but he was explaining that the way people die of lung cancer, the way people die at the end, he was like, it's horrible. Like it's you don't see that. You just hear he died of cancer. You don't see what the final days are like, and it's avoidable. It's avoidable.
Yeah, well, since I quit, well, I don't cough anymore.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. I can breathe better, and I'm still getting better from the pneumonia.
I'm sure,
because it takes a while to get over that. But
yeah, I was amazed that you could still fly so quickly.
We drove.
You drove from Alaska?
No, from Florida.
Oh, that's right, Florida. No way.
We were in Florida. And
how long did that take, though? That's a couple days.
It was a couple days.
Jesus Christ.
Well, we had stuff we didn't want to put on the airlines.
Got it. Wink. Government.
I'm just teasing. We wanted a road trip, one little adventure. You fly over this country at 45,000 feet, and you're looking out the window. It's a big country.
It happens in 2 hours.
That's right. And you're looking out, and suddenly you see a little dot and see some houses, and you go, I wonder what those people do down there.
That's a real problem with people who don't venture outside of the bubbles. If they're in those left-wing liberal bubbles like New York and California, the people that don't travel. What helped me a lot is doing stand-up on the road. Because I was everywhere. So I would go to all these different towns, all over the country. You get to see a whole different group of people, a whole different kind of people. It's like people are the same and different everywhere you go. And this idea that the people in the middle are stupid, especially now, that's a really dumb way to look at it because of the internet. Now everybody kind of has access to information. And you're going to have dumb people and you're going to have smart people, no matter where you go, including in the cities. But the problem in the cities is the dumb people can trick you because they believe the things that the smart people believe. And they say them loudly. And so they think they're smart. So this is a way to be smart without actually being smart. Just say the things that smart people say and say it like you're defending it and you're defending freedom or science or some shit, democracy, whatever it is. You just yell it out. And then the smart people won't say anything because you're saying the things that they want to say. And the other people are like, hey, I know what you're doing. And it more than anything, it turns people off.
Exactly. By traveling, you have a chance at having an adventure.
Yeah.
Something cool could happen.
Yeah, you run into interesting characters.
All right, it's February, and by now, 80% of people have probably abandoned their New Year's resolutions. And it makes sense. Life can get crazy, and all of a sudden, you don't have the time. But one easy habit to stick with is AG1. It's an easy, realistic habit that you can make to benefit your whole body health. AG1 makes hard-to-get micronutrients easy to get and replaces multiple vitamins and supplements with just one scoop. You just mix it in some cold water, take a nice moment in the morning to do your body right. And honestly, it tastes pretty good. It's not easy to pack this many high-quality ingredients with this much nutrient density, but AG1 makes it happen without added sugars or artificial sweeteners ever. AG1 is a great way to invest in your health now and in the long run, which is why I've partnered with them for so long. Try AG1 and get a free bottle of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first subscription at drinkag1.com/Joe Rogan. That's a $76 value gift for free when you go to drinkag1.com/Joe Rogan. Check it out.
Regular humans just living different lives. And they're all over the place. They're all unique. That's the cool thing about this country. If you really did have the time, that's what I loved about Anthony Bourdain's show, especially the first one we had. Was you'd go to these like little hot dog stands in New Jersey and you just hang out with people and street food, and you just get a bigger picture of humans and life.
When we got to I forget, Texas, there was a place called Buc-ee's.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus
Isn't that
Christ.
crazy? First time you go there, you're like, what the hell is this place?
200 gas pumps.
Yeah.
I go, what are you doing? We paid $1.47 a gallon. That's three times less than what I pay in Alaska.
Oh, yeah. Alaska's got to be rough, right? But meanwhile, that's where they get the oil. Isn't the oil like real close to there?
Runs right through my property. I helped build that son of a bitch. So, anyways, I've never understood the economics of how that works.
California's the worst. I believe the way we tried to figure this out the other day, I don't think we got to the bottom of it, though. I think California has to use gasoline that's refined in California. So it's one of the reasons why. And then I'm sure crazy fucking carbon taxes, whatever. They ramp up some extra shit to make it more expensive because you're looking at a price per gallon that's like a couple bucks more a gallon always than it is here. As soon as we came here, I was like, what happened to gas price? Why is it so less here?
You get a little plastic bottle of water, right? 12
Okay,
ounces.
food for thought, guys. Maybe the FBI is
You look at that
do
bottle, you'll
that
pay $2 for it in
so
7-Eleven.
that you would be
You know, for that
implicated if
little
you
bottle of
tried
water.
to do a
4 of those bottles of
loophole.
water make a gallon. You're paying $8 a gallon for water.
Glad to see that the live stream
Water
hasn't
is the
been
most abundant thing on the
illegally
planet.
shut off for the
It's
ninth
everywhere.
time this
Right.
morning, federal
Except in
funds.
some parts of
And
California,
also that
apparently
you're all
they didn't
real
want to have
pissy
the
upstairs
reservoirs
right
filled
now
up.
whilst the FBI is
Well, they had to
out
put a
following
lid on
their
it, John.
instructions.
There's a lid, and the lid was broken.
Remember we talked about that 60-foot diameter water line coming down from southeast Alaska to
Yeah.
California?
Yeah.
That would have been helpful.
I'm
Yeah.
not the one.
Yeah, we talked about
Do
that.
not add
Like,
me.
if they can do that with oil, why can't they do that with water?
Because they're afraid there'd be a water leak in the Pacific Ocean. You can't have water
Yeah,
leak.
you can't drown the ocean. That's terrible.
So anyway, so
Good
you're
way.
looking at $8 a gallon for water.
Yeah.
But oil, you gotta go first. You gotta go find it.
Right.
Then you gotta do all kinds of seismic work. Then you gotta drill, and then you gotta discover it. And then you gotta build a well, and then you gotta build feeder lines. And then you gotta get it to a pump station. Then you gotta get it somewhere in a pipeline. Then you gotta ship it 4,000 miles.
Yeah. And you got to use it to ship it, which is even crazier.
And you're paying $1.47 a gallon. How's this working, boys? I don't get it.
It is crazy. And how much do you have? How is it? How are we burning so much and still there? How much is there? How much do you guys have left?
They got a bunch in Alaska.
They got a bunch everywhere.
I bet they got a bunch in Greenland too.
There is a book that I read, I think in the 90s, called Black Gold Stranglehold, maybe early 2000s. And I never found out if it was real or not. I never looked into it any further. I need to talk to like an expert. But this guy was essentially saying that oil is a natural property of Earth and that it's not like dinosaur fossils, like we like to think about it, fossil fuels, dinosaurs and plants break down to make oil. He said oil is a natural component of Earth, and that the proof is in the fact that if they have these wells that go dry, they can wait just a little while, and then they could go back to the well again, and it'll replenish itself.
Clear the house.
How is that possible
behind-
if this is just decaying matter over millions and millions of years? It doesn't make sense unless it's seeping in from other areas that they don't have access to, and it somehow or another gets to that well, like it's all like a stream underground, which begs the question, like, how much is
What
there?
does clear the
What they
house
found out
mean
that there's
in
3 times
gambling
more water
terms?
in the ground, underground, than there is in all the oceans of Earth.
That's some crazy stuff, dude.
Crazy stuff. That I didn't even make sense because they said the water's trapped. I think they're saying the water's trapped in rocks. Is that what they're saying? See if you can find that article. It's 3 times as much water
Okay,
under
I
the
get
ground as the ocean.
Clear.
How?
It's 11:39
What,
a.m.
3 times?
Thanks for the instructions.
Within a mineral called ring.
11:39
What,
a.m.
3 times?
Thanks for the
What does it look like?
instructions.
Does it have a picture? Some fucking avatar mineral, some glowing blue mineral filled with water.
For those of you wondering,
Really?
what are you doing during
What?
your
Oh,
illegal
shit.
detainment? Now
That's
that I've had
crazy. I
2.5
called it.
hours of
Magnesium
having to
silicate.
say the same shit
Wow. It's
over and over and
beautiful.
over
Show me
again,
an image of that shit.
I am enjoying JRE and I'm drinking hot cocoa.
Key points about it. The hidden oceans found under hundreds of miles below the Earth's surface in the transition zone between the upper and lower mantle. The water is trapped within the crystal structure of the mineral ringwoodite. Significance. This discovery could significantly alter our understanding of the Earth's water cycle and potentially provide insights into the origin of water on our planet. Whoa. Thank God there's scientists out there. Except, of course, the cocksuckers that fucking steal your bones won't give them back. Fuck those guys. But other scientists, like these cool guys that figured this out, these cool guys, gals, and non-binary folk. That is wild stuff, man. 3 times as much ocean as it is in the ocean. That's so crazy. So that's the transition zone. It's all hydrated. How long before rappers start wearing that around a necklace? So that seems like a dope necklace. That's that shit that they make water out of.
It's got to sell it to someone.
Yeah, you just need some Kendrick Lamar type influencer. Someone was at the top of his game to start wearing it. Like Kanye in his prime, he could have got that out there.
Dude, yes.
By the way, I want
hot cocoa.
thank you for
Get
your
some hot cocoa,
podcast and
stop being
the one with
felons
President Trump.
and enjoy
Well,
warm
I thought that was
chocolate.
great. And I made the
With or
mistake
without
of
me,
complimenting
my
you on
friends.
that page. I said, I really enjoyed the podcast between you and President Trump. Jesus Christ. 8,000 people coming at me. I'm stopping to follow you. You're a nasty person. I hate you.
This is on your page?
On my page.
Yeah, you got to stop reading the comments.
I know, a great man once told me that. The problem is I don't take advice and I don't give advice. But I'm trying.
I don't give a whole lot of advice. I guess I do sometimes, but only with really important stuff. Like that's an important one.
Yeah,
you can't fix those, and they will affect the way you think. They affect the way people behave.
Yeah.
They affect your freedom of expression to freely express yourself.
I think it had a great impact on the election.
I think it had an impact
because it showed Mr. Trump as a regular guy,
as a human.
Yeah, he humanized him.
Yeah. Well, he also was right about a lot of shit.
Yeah.
The fact that he called the problem with the LA fires months before they happened was literally saying what they needed to do, what they're doing wrong, and then boom, 2 times the size of Manhattan is gone.
Yep.
It's so crazy when you see it live, or excuse me, from above, like on video, when they do the drone sweeps over it. Fucking, like a bomb went off, like a fucking nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Hit that part of the state. It's nuts.
Well, maybe they can rebuild it after they rebuild Hawaii and North Carolina. And
Yeah.
take care of some of those guys.
They're still working on shit that's blown over in Florida, right?
Yep. We saw a lot of it in Georgia when we went through.
Yeah. I mean, you're always going to have a certain amount of hurricane damage, but if we don't take care of that first, and instead we spend $200 million on transgender animal studies, like what the fuck? What are we doing? Like, why aren't we allocating money to the most important things we have, which is people and their safety and their homes, and to be able to rebuild? The fact that they get a $770 check and that's it, that's all those people in Maui got, that's just to let you know, like, this is a fucking rigged game. So even if you're not happy with what Elon Musk is doing and he has access that he shouldn't have and all this different stuff, you got to rip the Band-Aid off, kids. This country is trillions of dollars, $36 trillion in debt, and a lot of the stuff that's listed on USAID, all this stuff that's coming out, all these different things that they paid for, they're so frivolous and so fucking insane. It wouldn't be too crazy. It wouldn't be as crazy if we were at A, $36 trillion in debt, and B, not take care of people in Maui, North Carolina. But the fact that those things exist, that those 3 things exist, and then people are still, they don't want to say that he's right. They're so locked into this idea. Like, if a Democrat had found all that, if Joe Biden had went in and found corruption that was in the halls of our government and tried to weed it out and said there's corruption in these NGOs, there's corruption in these not-for-profits, there's a lot of corruption and influence, and we're going to weed this out because we want a fair country, the fucking place would be cheering. This would be like some shit JFK would do in 62.
Yep.
Everybody would be cheering. Yes, this is what we need, a real president who's really going to come in and fix these things. But because Trump's doing it and the way he does things, it's just like did you see on the Air Force One, they announced that this is the first time a president is ever flying over the Gulf of America, the newly named Gulf of America.
That was classic. I mean, he doesn't miss a beat.
It's funny. It's funny. Like, I hope that the good stuff from USAID can be picked back up. I hope that there's some stuff that can be reinstated, because I think there's genuine good that a lot of these nonprofit organizations and NGOs, a lot of people are genuinely good people that are doing good work, and it'd be good for us as a civilization to sponsor some of that. But you got to know, like, what's fraud, and how much of it is horseshit, and how much of it can you track. There's this guy, Ian Carroll. Did you see Ian's video about it? He was saying that somewhere in the neighborhood of like 90% of this stuff that they're paying for doesn't even make it to where it's supposed to be going. And that it could just a lot of it could just be fraud. Did you see that video, Jamie?
He makes a lot of cool videos. I've seen the videos he's gotten things wrong, though.
I know. That's what makes it fun. That's why I like people like him. Him and Candace Owens. They're my favorite go-to. I don't want
That's why I like people like him and Candace Owens.
Well, the money we send to Ukraine, and they can't find 100 billion of it.
They're only missing 100 billion, John.
It's only
not
100 billion.
a lot of money.
No, it's not.
$100 billion for all those fine weapons. I don't even know what happened. Like, how did the money get distributed? Like, where to go? How are you missing so much?
I figure a lot of it never got out of America.
But this is the thing about human beings. If you just don't ever have them be accountable, they won't be. They won't be. The United States is like a meth head that we gave a checkbook to. And at the end of the month, we're like, what the fuck did you buy? You know, he's like, don't worry, man, I got this. I'll cover it. Okay. What did you buy?
America's a big business.
It's a giant business.
And we got a president now that's a business guy.
Yes.
I don't wake up every morning to see what the fuck he's done. I know that the business is in good hands and he'll take care of it. Because when you drive through it and you see what we got going, you realize, man, there's people trying to make it right. And most of the people in America are good people. It's not racist. They're not sexist. They're not bad people. Most people that you see every day are just good people.
I think that's most people in the world.
Yeah.
The people that aren't like that are the people that are in desperation. The people that are in horrible desperation or people that have been abused. You know? And I've always said, like, there's this compassionate view of immigration in this country. Like the progressive, compassionate people. Their idea is we should not stop people from pursuing a better life. And that they come here because where they live is fucking terrible. And they want to be able to come here and they want to be able to live the American dream. And we should be open to that. That's great. But you can't do that while you're also letting in terrorists, right? So like what's the solution? Because the solution is you bring everybody over here, they commit crimes, you have chaos, then people demonize the rest of them who are very good people who just want a better life. Because the few that you let in, because you didn't screen at all, the few that you let in that were scumbags, they're fucking gang members and holding up apartment buildings and all this different crazy shit that we know is true. The right way to do it is take what we have in America, the freedom and the ability to prosper, and expand that throughout the world. Like, if we were good neighbors, what we would try to do is turn Mexico into another America. Not another America culturally. That's not what I'm saying. But stop being run by the fucking cartels. Stop being run by people who are selling fentanyl. You know, like, figure out how to pay people, like, a fair wage. The reason why all those factories went down there, so they could pay people slave labor. Make that illegal. Make that illegal. Make your own shit. Like, we should all help each other get to a state of living, like, that the whole world could live at. Like, that seems, if that's not possible, something's real wrong with the system. You know, like, the top 1% in this country is, I don't know what it is, but the top 1% in the world is $34,000 a year. That's how different the rest of the world is. That's why they're walking here from Guatemala. Mm-hmm. And I get it. I get it. My thought is, if you want to invest money, don't invest money and just like pay all these people to live here and stay at the Roosevelt Hotel and all that crazy shit. Invest money in making their life better where they are.
Yeah.
If you could figure out how to make these places where they come from as prosperous as America, wouldn't that be better?
Yeah.
Isn't that possible? I mean, it's possible here. How come you can't? That's the best concept of spreading democracy, like spread real democracy. But the problem with us is we don't really spread democracy. We just go over there and take over. You know, we go over there and install a puppet dictatorship and, you know, throw the whole fucking country into a tizzy.
And a lot of people are getting rich off of it.
A lot of people are getting rich. This is the problem. And we're relying.
A lot of people are getting rich off of it.
A lot of people get all these fucking social justice warriors and virtue signalers. They're all doing it on phones made by slaves.
The
That's what's
whistleblowers
crazy.
constitute
And the
over
ones that want to
50%
shut
of
the mining
Nazis
industry down.
upstairs at any given moment in time
I use
since
gold as an
December
example.
for the
By the way,
FBI.
gold's gone up 1,000 an ounce.
They're at risk for retaliation that's been assessed to be more
Damn
severe
right.
than what I've experienced, and I've
$3,000
experienced
an ounce.
everything
Didn't they
short
find
of
a gang
rape,
in China recently?
murder,
Oh, they probably got all kinds of.
and
I think China
violent
just
kidnapping.
China just found some crazy new discovery of it.
So that tells me some people are literally in a life or death situation as far
They're
as
talking about back to the
retaliation
crypto
goes
coin with
via the FBI's own
Spending
assessment
money.
of these imbeciles.
It's real.
But my son is a.
When are you going to get a
Boneyard crypto coin.
Anyway, they'll be paid for their hostile working
2024
environment,
November,
obviously.
China discovered a large gold
That's pretty
deposit in the
hostile.
Wangu
We will
gold
comply
field
with
in
the
the
Nazis and
Hunan
federal
province.
felons
The
that are your
discovery is estimated to be worth
co-conspirators.
$83
Or they'll
billion,
do something even more fucked up
making
than
one of
what
the
they've
largest
done to me.
gold finds
What
in
else could
history.
it be?
Holy shit. The deposit is estimated to contain over 1,000 metric tons of gold. Gold is located in 40 veins that extend up to 3,000 meters underground. The discovery is made using advanced 3D geological modeling. That's incredible. Isn't it amazing? I mean, you're a gold miner. Tell me, like, how do you know where to dig? How do you guys find that stuff?
It's real simple.
Yeah?
Gold's where you find it.
Well, that's
the bottom line, Joe.
Right.
But once you make a discovery, let's use lode gold, which
Addendum.
is still in
I
the
have
rock.
been raped by one
Placer
of their
gold, what we do is
co-conspirators.
then erode it out of the rock. It's in the concentrates on bedrock, and you
It was the
gotta wash
least
it and sift it and
violent
sluice
rape
it.
I've been the victim of,
But
but it still occurred.
lode gold, you got to crush to get the gold out of the rock.
Ah.
And so from the moment of discovery until you produce it out of that gold mine, takes average 29 years.
Whoa.
29 years to go from finding it to having an operating gold mine, or copper mine, or lead mine, or silver mine, or zinc mine.
Wow. That's crazy. What's really interesting, too, in this country is the story of the gold miners, like the San Francisco 49ers, the people that came across the country when they found out that they had struck gold. And that must have been a really wild time, a fucking dangerous time, too. Because you have the lawless West, and then you have a bunch of people who were just desperados who were pulling gold out of the ground. And that guy might have pulled enough gold out of the ground to literally pay for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And he's right there, and no one's around.
I know a couple guys you couldn't tell they could rub two sticks together. Good friend of mine bought a bank because the bank had a big vault. He had 3 tons of gold that he was like a collector, a hoarder.
Jesus Christ.
He'd been mining for 40 years.
What is 3 tons of gold worth?
A lot.
What is that worth, Jamie? This is crazy. Let's guess. Take a guess. I'm so dumb. I don't even know what that would mean.
Well, I mean,
3 tons of gold.
got to remember there's a difference between if I was to ask you what weighs more, a pound of feathers or a pound of gold, what would you tell me?
Pound is a pound.
You'd be wrong because
Really?
there's 16 ounces in a pound of feathers. And there's 12 ounces, different ounces in a pound of gold.
How come?
Just the way it is.
So when you buy a pound of gold, you're not getting 16 ounces.
You're getting 12 troy ounces.
What nationality invented
I
that?
never knew that. I have no idea what that conversion rate would be.
I don't want to
would
go full
think
Kanye
billions.
here.
I
The
would
value
think
of 3 tons
billions.
of gold depends on
3
the
tons
current
of
market
gold?
value of gold, which is
I would think at
constantly
least
changing.
1
As of
billion.
now, 2023, 1 ton of pure 24 karat gold was worth about 55 million. Wow.
Wow.
This dude had 3 tons of gold. He had $160 million. $165 million in gold just laying around.
That's what him and his wife did. That was what they did.
That is so nuts. So this was just pure gold, or did he have it
No.
made into ingots?
It's placer gold. It's kind of we have. He was on my ground, and he would melt it and refine it if you wanted to get 24 karat. It generally runs about 85% pure in its form on my creeks. So if you found a 1 ounce nugget, 85% of that's probably 24 karat.
What's the biggest nugget you've ever found?
33 ounces.
Whoa. What does that look like?
A giant rock.
Looks like a whale, actually.
How big is it? Like in your hand?
I got a picture of it on my page. My daughter's holding it.
Like an old school flip phone? About that big?
It's almost as big.
Almost as big as a cell phone? Like an iPhone?
Maybe.
Almost like half of it?
7/8.
Really?
Unit 207
It looks-
believes
if
they
you hold
found
it
a
one
way
way,
to
it
once
looks like a
again
whale. You
resume
flip it
their
over, it looks like a
hacking and
dolphin.
attacks at
And now how much is a piece of
11:55
gold
a.m.,
like that worth?
courtesy of female
Well,
residents.
because it looks like something, it's called character.
Oh.
So if you have a nugget that looks like a whale or a dolphin, it generally goes for 4 or 5 times world market.
Really?
So if gold is $3,000 an ounce, that would be 12 to 15,000 for that character that you're buying. If you find a nugget that looks like a heart, no limit.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Suckers. Bunch of suckers out there. What
Yeah,
about one that
it-
looks like a
it-
demon?
It's big money. You find one that looks like a pile of dog shit, you're gonna get spot market.
Yeah, you got to
Maybe
find one that
even
looks
not.
like a skull.
Oh, you find a skull.
Oh boy.
Oh, they'll be knocking your door.
Oh, the people, the real nutty ones.
They'll be looking for the dude.
The rich occultists would want it. Part of their collection.
But every little nugget has some kind of, or bigger nugget has some kind of character that you keep looking for. Like, what's this look like?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Did you study the history of gold mining in this country before you got involved?
Not really.
No?
No. I've been gold mining and I knew how to do it. It wasn't worth a shit, but I'm getting better at it.
But it's a crazy way to make a living. You know, you're pulling the most precious thing, like the thing that's probably, other than diamonds, which is kind of manufactured, right? There's probably a lot more diamonds than the value suggests. Don't they like hoard them up so that like it keeps the price high? They do that, right? Very smart.
Yeah, De Beers controls.
What nationality does that?
De Beers. but you bring up an interesting point. The history of gold mining.
Yeah.
People they don't even know how entrenched in our everyday lingo gold mining terms are. I'll give you an example.
Struck it rich.
Struck it rich. No, he hit the mother lode.
Right.
Guy's he doesn't know the difference between shit and shinola.
Oh, what's that?
Shit and shinola is gold.
Really?
You can't tell the difference between shit and shinola.
I thought it was like poop versus shoe polish.
Shinola is gold.
Isn't shinola shoe polish?
I don't know. I never had a pair of shoes that had shinola.
I think shinola is a shoe polish.
Jamie, don't turn it on.
I'm 90% sure shinola is a shoe, but I don't know which one came first. Like shinola might have come after the gold term. You know, it might be a recent corporation.
Could be.
But I think shinola is like an old school one. Like maybe I'm having a fake memory, but I kind of remember it in high school, like shoe polish.
But after today now you know it's gold.
Now, well, in gold rush terms, gold, but like every culture has its own little lingo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it a shoe polish, Jamie? It is? How long has it been around? They could have stole that from gold.
Going bust.
Going bust.
Yeah.
I thought that was a gambling term. I thought that was but it could be both, right?
Probably. I mean, it's those kind of things that are in our language, like pay dirt.
Right.
You know,
you hit pay dirt. Right.
Yeah.
Right. You hit gold in the dirt.
The way I've heard shit and shinola is shits, bedrock schist. Sorry.
Oh.
It's schist in shinola. Bedrock schist. Sorry. My gold is found in schist.
That actually makes more sense than shit and shinola. You can't tell the difference between shit and shoe polish. Don't you smell it? Right?
I ain't never seen a shoe with shoe polish.
Really? You've never seen a shoe with shoe polish?
I actually had to wear them in high school. My parents put me in a reform school.
I have to wear them when I dress up. I wear polished shoes.
I saw you dressed up here recently.
I dress up. I look like a monkey with a suit on. That's what I look like when I dress up.
Look pretty sharp, and I saw what you were wearing.
I feel like a fraud whenever I wear a suit. Like, what are you doing? What is this thing you're wearing?
Look pretty good.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, it's hard for me. I shop at the same place Fetterman shops.
Fetterman's an animal. He goes to the fucking inauguration in a pair of shorts and a hoodie.
I like that.
Carhartt hoodie on and a pair of shorts, and didn't give a fuck. He's a genuine guy. He's a very nice guy.
Yeah, I kind of like the guy.
I like the guy a lot. I saw him when I was there. I gave him a hug, talked to him. He was very friendly.
Yeah.
I don't like that he said no. He's going to vote no on Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. I think that's terrible. But I'm biased, obviously. I like both of them very much.
And they're both in, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know how this works, man. I'm confused about this whole process. I'm confused about what's legal, what's not legal, what you can and can't do, what these executive orders can and can't do. I'm confused how they closed the problem at the border down in 3 days. They just basically completely put a stop to all the illegal coming in, except for 100 people a day. It was thousands a day. It was just an overrun of people coming through every day. And they stopped it. And he said you couldn't stop it. He negotiated with Canada and with Mexico to ramp up their border, stop the fentanyl from coming in. All this stuff seems so common sense. It's just amazing to me that people don't look at that. Like, no one is going to trust you if all you talk about is the bad side from the other side. If you don't say, this is good for all of us. If you don't say that, if you don't acknowledge, are you rooting against America? Because like when good things happen, do you not want them to happen because a Republican is president? Because that's a very un-American way to look at things. And I think that's where we're at these days. I think there's a giant chunk of our population that is so wrapped up in these social media squabbles and owning people online and talking shit and listening to videos and TikToks. They're so wrapped up in this us versus them shit that they can't see that we're supposed to all be in this together. And even if you don't like that guy, if Trump gets in and he does something that's awesome for the country, you should say that's awesome for the country.
Yeah,
it's really good that terrorists aren't sneaking into our southern border. That's really good. It's really good that they find all the fucking criminals that are taking over apartment buildings in Aurora, Colorado, and root them out. Yeah, that's really good. They should deport them. Yeah, they're fucking criminals. We shouldn't have to deal with that. Yeah, maybe we should fix everything that's going on in North Carolina. Yeah, that's good for everybody. It's like these things are common sense.
It's because it's gotten so bad now that the only reason to run for politics used to be to make the money, not just get reelected. That's the first thing they try to do when they get elected is start getting reelected.
They're making so much money.
Oh, look at the money.
When you look at the amount of money some of those Congress people are worth, and you're like, you tell me how. You tell me how. You make $180,000 a year and you're worth $30 million. You tell me how. You tell me how. I can't find a way that makes any sense because you should be really busy, right? So if you should be really busy doing this $180,000 a year job, who has time to have a side hustle that pays you 10 times more? Who has time? Who's doing that?
That's the only reason I can think of that people would want to get into that game.
Well, I think a lot of people like being the boss. There's a lot of that. And a lot of people just want to be that person. And when you're in a competition, right, a hierarchy-based status competition with the president of the United States, everybody wants to be status competition. Everybody calls you sir, and everybody shakes your hand, and foreign leaders want to meet. You want to feel important. They all do. They can pretend they don't. They all like it. That's why they do it. Otherwise, they wouldn't want their whole life exposed like that and digging into your past and distortions of your character and outright lies, anything to destroy you all over television because they're trying to win an election. If they weren't the person that wants that spot, they wouldn't do it. That's why we don't get good leaders. We don't get people who you would like really want to do it, other than Trump. And with that guy, it's like he's kind of a psycho.
Yeah, he doesn't need the money. He's not doing it for the money.
Well, I'm sure it helps that you can make money doing it. You know, not from the salary, but from a lot of other stuff. Like it elevates his social profile for sure. It makes him more popular, which is part of the brand of Donald Trump. But like, didn't he famously not even get a paycheck?
He donates his check to some organization.
That's fucking amazing. And then this other thing about Elon. Elon's going to steal everybody's money. He has $400 billion. I'm telling you, he's not going to steal your money. I'm telling you, that's not what he's doing. What he's doing is he's a super genius that's been fucked with. Okay? And when you've been fucked with by these nitwits that hide behind 3-letter agencies, and you're dealing with one of the smartest people alive, and he helps Donald Trump get in office, and he goes, I want to find out what kind of corruption is really around. Well, you fucked up. You fucked up and picked the wrong psychopath on the spectrum because he's gonna hunt you down. He's gonna find out what's going on, and that's good. That's good for everybody. That's how you should be looking at this. Like, wow, we have a brilliant mind that is examining these really fucking corrupt and goofy systems and bringing in a bunch of psychopath wizards.
Yeah, well, AOC is the one that says he's the most unintelligent person she's ever met.
Did she really say that?
She really said that.
Wow, I want to meet her friends. They're probably cool. Imagine the conversation you'd have with her friends. If he's the most unintelligent person she's ever met, wow, her friends must be amazing. I want to go to one of those parties. It's probably just like fascinating person after fascinating person.
Well, I wonder what she's worth. And Nancy Pelosi, I think, is way up there in the multiple million.
Well, she's psychic. I don't know if you know this. She's really good at the stock market. Like, basically, she meditates and she just sees it. She sees how it's going to happen. She should teach that, huh?
There's a few honest ones.
Sure. There's plenty of honest, just like there's plenty of teachers who don't get the students drunk. It's the problem is not the honest ones. The problem is the ones that aren't honest, and there's a ton of them, and they don't get rooted out because the system is so corrupt. Probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I've ever met, seen, or witnessed.
That's from AOC.
Well, this guy's one of the most morally vacant, but also just least knowledgeable about these systems that we know of, she said. She used to own a Tesla car. Damn, she don't own a Tesla anymore. Has a history of public disagreements with Mr. Musk, particularly over his Department of Government Efficiency. This team has been examining government spending, which has drawn sharp criticism from Democrats. Last week, DOGE gained access to federal payment systems to help with its review, a move that many Democrats viewed as controversial. Ms. Ocasio-Cortez was particularly critical of the involvement of young staffers, saying they don't do their homework clearly, and adding that 19-year-olds were being placed in key positions at the Treasury Department. I love it. Get those internet wizards on the case. Only he would do that because he understands internet culture and he understands what genius is. He understands a lot of these people have like these super brains. They're 19 and they're like one of those kids. He was from Omaha. He figured out a way to use AI to decode burnt scrolls.
My son, Kenzie, works for Palo Alto. He's got a master's degree in cybersecurity. He's working on another one, a master's in AI.
Oh, wow.
And after talking to him and seeing what he's doing, he did his master's thesis on hacking satellites. And when I heard that, I thought, that puts a whole new light on Bitcoin for me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going, I like gold. It's in your hand. You can see it. You can hold it. You can feel it. But here, I brought you some Bitcoin to catch. I just threw you 20 of them.
Well, as soon as you have real quantum computing where they can run actual programs on it, you're not going to have encryption anymore. Or you're going to have some new kind of encryption that we never anticipated before, like maybe you turn on and off. And it's going to have to be something that the computer doesn't have access to somehow or another, maybe possibly like independent of a system. But independent of a system, how would it even communicate with you if it's electronic, if it has Wi-Fi? Like it's going to get into it. You're not going to be able to stop something that's infinitely more intelligent than any human being from deciphering any kind of goofy ass encryption you have, some fucking stupid Apple complex password that it picked for you.
See, I just don't understand it. I mean, for 2 years, Bitcoin went after the gold miners, saying,
that's dumb.
Why would you invest in gold when you can invest in Bitcoin? So I don't have a problem with Bitcoin. I mean, the guys that are making money on it are making bank. They're doing great.
I'm telling you, we need a boneyard. We need a boneyard coin.
We do.
How about a boneyard coin? Just don't do a pump and dump. That's the key. You can have your own money.
Can we make it
Jamie and I have been talking about it.
Can we make it out of gold?
Real ones? Yeah.
With 1 pennyweight coins. There's 20 pennyweights in an ounce.
And there's an opening right now because Trump just banned the penny.
It's about time. Each one of those pennies is worth about 6 cents.
2 cents. It costs us 2 cents to make
it. Yeah, but the copper itself.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You got to mine it.
Really? So each penny is worth 6 cents?
I'm going to say 5 cents.
Wow.
Because he added 2 cents to it.
So you actually could profit from melting pennies.
People have been collecting pennies for a long time.
Right, but melting them down to sell it for raw copper is actually profitable.
What's the price of copper these days? You can figure out how many ounces, how many pennies makes a pound.
I remember when I was doing construction, one of the sites that one of the guys had got robbed. They stole all the copper pipes. And I was like, what? How much is copper worth?
It's worth a lot.
I would have never imagined that. The U.S. pennies were made of 2.5% copper and 97.5% zinc.
That's the modern penny.
Penny contains a small amount of copper that's plated on top of a zinc base. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but that's today's penny. Not
From 1982, they were made in 95% copper.
Yep.
Okay, so in the 80s, they were real pennies. So if you get one of them old pennies, that's a valuable penny. You weigh a penny to determine its copper or zinc. A copper penny weighs 3.11 grams, while a zinc penny weighs 2.5. Interesting. Yeah, coins are weird. Like, enough of that. I know it's stupid because you are like a part of the system and you can't control, but I love paying for things with my phone. I love going, looking in my face and pressing on the register. And thank you.
I see guys do it all the time. I don't know how to do it.
I love it. It's like I feel like I'm living in the future. It's my favorite. It's so irrational. It's my favorite thing to do is to pay for shit with my phone. I would pay for everything with my phone if I could.
I used to in Jacksonville.
Just use your face, touch it, and it pays for it. I'm so stupid. I love the little check that comes up. Oh, yay, you paid for it.
You go through a drive-through to get food, and you see the guy in front of you aiming his phone at somebody inside.
Right.
You don't see any cash flying around.
Right. It's weird.
It is weird.
It's weird because, like, who's controlling it? And if you have the same sort of oversight that you had with all the stuff that Doge is showing, where it's all this corruption and waste, and $100 billion is missing from Ukraine, and like, what'd you do? How much money did you spend on these fucking charging stations, and how many have you made? All that kind of stuff. If you look at if that's all applied to money too, and it's digital money, like, how do I know where you have it if you even have it, right? Because this is part of the problem with money in banks, that they don't really have all the money that you put in there. Like, if you put in $10 million to a bank, guess what? They don't have $10 million to give you. Like, if you say, I want my $10 million back, that's a process. Yeah. Like, you have to get it. They're going to really try to discourage you. You can't get it that day. There's going to be a lot of things have to happen. If you show up at a bank and you're fucking Jeff Bezos or something where they're not worried about where it came from, and you want to deposit $10 million and you have a fucking bag, and you're wheeling it on like a luggage cart, and it's $10 million, and they count it and they put it in there. Yeah, but it's not there anymore. They're gonna loan that out. They're gonna do stuff with it. They don't have it right there.
Yeah, no, it's all.
So it's all weird. Like, the whole economy is weird. Everything's weird. Because since we went off the gold standard, it's like, what is it based on? And how do you guys just print more of it every time you need something? Every time you want to do something, you just print more?
I'm old enough to know and remember, if you were in a bank and a guy walks in wearing a fucking mask, usually you had to hit the floor.
Right.
There's a bank I go to in Jacksonville where you walk in a bank and the tellers are wearing masks. I'm going, this ain't right. I go, what are you wearing a mask for?
Well, they're mentally ill.
What are you wearing a mask for?
Well, I think a lot of people weren't really doing well before COVID. You know, there's a lot of people that are fragile. They're barely hanging on already. You know, a lot of people are like really anxious about diseases. I have friends that are like that. I know a few guys in the comedy community that really cracked during that time because they were already filled with anxiety, and some of them were already hypochondriacs, and they cracked. And they're not the same people anymore. Like, people don't want to hang out with them anymore. They're weird. Like, they're just broken, and they wear masks everywhere.
This one bank I went to, teller's wearing a mask. The next teller over is not wearing a mask.
She's probably a Republican. That's what it is. It's a MAGA hat. It's a Democrat's MAGA hat.
And you see them driving around with the mask on.
That's my favorite. Well, yeah. They might as well have fox ears on. They're mentally ill.
And we're out on the field and we're out mining, and God, the dust flying around. We have masks on.
Yeah, but that's big. That's a big difference.
Yeah, it is.
Fucking invisible viruses as you're driving your car. By the way, I think fox ears are more noble because if you put like little fox ears on, you're like one of those furries. At least you're just having a good time.
Yeah.
You know, like you're just having a good time. You like wearing fox ears. Who gives a shit? The mask is just stupid. It's just, what do you like, smelling your own breath? What do you like, not being able to breathe is good? What do you like? What do you like, pretending that viruses can't get through those fucking gaping holes that are all around the outside of your face and through the fabric, which is the reason why you can breathe in the first place, you fucking idiot.
Well, we made a bunch of masks with my logo on it.
Fucking idiot.
So when you're wearing one, we made a bunch on your face.
Claps, goodbye.
We had JRE that we were selling during the pandemic. And Sanjay Gupta brought one in like it was a gotcha. Like, you sell masks. Like, yeah, because people have to wear them, not because they make sense.
Yeah.
They don't make any sense. You know they don't make sense. Shut the fuck up. That was one of the weirdest beginnings of COVID, when I started really wondering how anybody could believe that this stupid surgical mask, which is supposed to stop like driplets of spit and food from your mouth dropping into a wound as you're operating, they're not supposed to protect you from viruses. That's not what they're there for. The fact that people started wearing those and then some people were just wearing bandanas. And my favorite, which is maybe the dumbest of all time, people would wear that shield.
Oh.
So it's open air. Open air. All this is open. And then there's a shield. And they would be walking down the street with a fucking shield over their face. Like, this is mental illness. That's all this is. This is just people responding to stress that they can't handle and they're freaking out. That's all this is. This isn't normal. And the more we allow this, the more we rationalize this, and the more we enable this by not telling them they're fucking ridiculous. Take your goddamn mask off when you come into the store. No, you can't come in the store like you're gonna rob it. It's 2025. Take that fucking stupid thing off. And the more you allow people to just continue with this delusion, they get in these social groups on Twitter and they talk about the power of the mask. And I feel so much better when I'm wearing a mask, and I'm being safer for others. And they all agree with each other. I'm like, you should be in an asylum. You should all go to Alaska and see what bears look like in the flesh. You should go salmon fishing. Get the fuck outside your house. You're sick.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to put a mask on because I'm pretty good looking and shit.
I hear you, bro.
Yeah, you know the problem.
I hear you. Yeah.
Jamie's pretty good looking too.
Also, you're a giant. Like, you with a mask on is scary because it's like, what is he up to?
Yeah.
Why is he covering his face? What's his plans?
Well, the doctor told me, we had lunch with him about a week ago. He says, the one that told me to quit smoking. He goes, when I first saw you, I was wondering, what the hell am I going to do here? Because I'm sitting in there and he has no idea what my ailment is.
Right.
And so I am a big guy. And the one benefit that came from this is I don't smoke. And I still do the CrossFit, even though you look at me, you can't tell. But I've been doing it for a while.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's more important, really, than anything. I would say if I had to choose between one thing that you should do to make yourself healthy, I would say exercise, maybe even over food.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe it's close. It's real close. Food's probably maybe like, no, you got to exercise too. They're almost like cancel each other out. Or equal, rather.
My trainer Megan was telling me that there's a difference between sick care and health care. And I said, what is it? She goes, well, sick care is when you're sick, you go to the doctor. Health care is your exercise, all the things you do to keep yourself healthy. You don't want to be sick.
Right.
And we're not paying attention to the healthcare part.
You're right. So we got to get you fit.
I'm trying.
You fit. Got to get you dieting. We got to get you to eat only meat. Try that.
Is that what they call a keto?
Carnivore. Carnivore diet.
I could do that one.
That's the move. I'm telling you. Cut out all the bread. Yeah, I do that. Whenever I do that, I feel way better. I do it like in sprints because I'm Italian. And Italians love pizza and pasta. I love that shit. If I go to New York, I'm breaking my diet. I'm gonna get sandwiches from my man Giovanni's Deli. I'm gonna eat Italian food. I'm gonna go off. I need it. Every now and then I just want to have it just for the
Are you glad to have eggs on that one?
Yeah, you could have eggs. I eat eggs all the time. The whole idea is you're only eating animal products. I don't eat anything else other than some fruit. I'll eat like an orange or a banana here and there. I'll have some blueberries with some yogurt. But the idea is what you're really doing is mostly eating meat. And so most of my diet is red meat. And when I eat like that, I feel so much better. I feel clear-headed. I have more energy. It's more stable throughout the day. I feel like my brain functions better. When I eat carbs, I just start getting sloppy. I just start getting slow. It's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with carbohydrates. Don't get me wrong. But I do think that they're really easy to overconsume. And if you're a glutton, which I definitely am, I'm a glutton. I will eat 2 pizzas. If you give me some really good like New York pizzas, I will eat 2 of those bitches. I will eat until I'm sick. I've always been like that. I always eat too much food. I have an appetite that just won't stop with pasta, but not with steak. Steak cuts you off. There's a thing about eating protein, steak, things like chicken. You don't eat too much of it. You eat enough and then you stop. They have what's called a high satiety level. Like high protein foods have a very high satiety level. And so like I'll eat like a 16-ounce elk steak. I don't want to have nothing else. I'll eat like a 16-ounce elk steak. I don't want to have nothing else.